Hi, welcome to the Holistic Approach with Dr. Bright. I'm your host, Dr. Bright. Today our topic is the interstitium. It's a very exciting new organ discovered by allopathic medicine. They discovered it in March of 2018. Well, it's a new discovery for them. Chinese medicine, we've known about it for about 7,000 years, and we call it San Jiao, or triple burner. They have a lot of very similar traits, and we're going to talk about some of those today. As you would think that we would have discovered all the intricate parts of the human anatomy by now, but we haven't. I remember when I was in anatomy physiology, they told us that we understand about 7-8% of the body. There's so many different hormones and chemicals and enzymes, and especially a lot of the brain that we're still learning about today. So there's a lot to be discovered there, and it should be a humbling experience and discovery for a lot of doctors out there that we just discovered the largest organ in the human body. And as we know, the vast majority of our bodies are made up of water, with about 2/3 of that water being within our cells and about 1/3 of that being outside the cell. And that water that we call outside the cell we'll call interstitial fluid. And so this fluid now that we're finding is in this large organ, the interstitium, which is a lot of fluid-filled sacs that interconnect through different webs of microtubules that connect to different organs and parts of the body. And it's between the skin and the fascia layer. And we're finding that it's a possibility that some of these are ways to transport stem cells through the body or other fluids and enzymes. So we're seeing as well that it could be a possibility that cancer and tumors metastasize by getting into this fluid and being spread through the rest of the body. And the reason it took them so long to discover this organ is because previously the way that we would, after the body would die, we would cut it up, we would preserve it in certain embalming fluids, it would dehydrate the tissue, and we would no longer have this fluid in these sacs, and it just looked like connective tissue of collagen throughout the body. So now with the new way that they're able to explore the body using a certain probe with a little camera on it, we're now allowed to explore living tissue. And it's giving us a whole new perspective of certain parts of the human body. So that's also very exciting. And as we see in Chinese medicine, we have San Jiao. San Jiao is very closely related to this interstitium. And San Jiao, they call it, has a name but with no body. And for so long, that's kind of how this interstitium was. It was very mysterious in a way. In Chinese medicine, we have 3 burners to this triple burner. We have the upper, middle, and lower burner. And we kind of explain it of how wine's fermented. So they say often we'll have the lungs and all that in the upper jiao, and water there acts and behaves like a mist in the gas, being given off by the fermentation process. And this makes sense when you think about the lungs and how they're responsible for breathing in and out this fine mist of air, and how our body's being provided with the oxygen and eliminating the CO2. The lungs also disperse this mist to the skin, keeping it moist and supple. In the middle jiao, the water behaves more like a foam in this area, and the foam that collects up like on top of the wine during the fermentation process. And this is created by the churning of the stomach and the digestive processes that happen in the body. We also have, through the middle jiao, all the churning through that digestive system, and the food gets broken down here, allowing the nutrients to be released and absorbed, nourishing the body. And underneath the foam is the wine itself, and this is represented by the lower jiao. The wine often contains sediment, which needs to be separated out from clear fluids, and this is the job of the intestines and the bladder. And the sediment or the impure fluids is removed as waste, and then the wine or pure fluids can be then returned to circulation. This is kind of the critical role of the San Jiao, and it also transforms qi, which contains a lot of particular kind of source qi in our body. And while qi provides energy, and it's our main source of energy of our body, it does much more than that. It helps facilitate certain bodily functions, as it also has the ability to warm and nourish and protect us. It circulates in the channels, which can be accessed from the surface of the skin, which is how we use needles in acupuncture to help tonify these certain processes in the body. And so rather being an organ of a solid mass or a hollow receptacle, the triple burner can be seen as a passageway allowing free movement in the channels and the waterways and the bowels. And although it has no physical form, it does play a crucial role in maintaining the body health entirely. And so we're seeing a lot of the similarities with this interstitium. So it's exciting to see what new research will be done, what else they may find, and how this could be more connected. and other ways of the mechanisms of acupuncture and how they're influencing this organ to possibly be using some stem cells in a way, or using the fluids to nourish other parts of the tissue. So soon we'll find out how that works. So thank you for listening, and this talk about the interstitium.